Hi everyone, hello, it's Loz here. Today I wanted to make a video about how to help the younger kids and some of the adults as well who are with them to understand the instructions that you're giving them in class, so in the official kids course. So I know that a lot of us struggle with things like explaining to the kids how to circle on the screen, for instance. So things like that, I just want to talk about the techniques I use that I feel really work for me, and hopefully that will give you some tips and advice. And obviously if anybody in the comments wants to share their own tips and their own advice, then that would be wonderful, because the more tips we can get to help the kids to understand what we're trying to say to them, then you can obviously get the class going quicker, and it just works. It works so much better if we can find ways for the kids to understand what we're trying to say when their English is quite minimal. So the first thing I would say is to use your facial expressions and your actions along with your spoken instructions. So at the beginning of the class there is a page that says in English and in Chinese so it explains the instructions at the beginning. At the beginning, just take a second, especially if the parent is there and if they can speak a little bit of English as well. You can show them where it says circle, get the student to try it out so that they get the gist of it. And also follow me. So when I want them to follow me, when I want kids to speak, to copy me, then I usually do this. And I usually begin that at the very beginning of the lesson, and they will pick that up and they will get to know that means, copy me. When I'm doing actions, so for instance, if I want them to hold their hands up like this, I quite often get them to do this when we're going to do the clapping exercise. So when we're going to clap a word like this. So for instance, pig. When we clap pig, before we do that, I'll usually get them to hold their hands up like this. If they're not copying me, then I will look at my hands and I will use my expression as if to say, where are your hands? So use your expressions, use your body language, and use your face more than you use your words, really, to engage them and get them to understand. Once they've got their hands like this, I like to get them to go blah, 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 or something similar, because it makes them laugh. And the more you do that, the more they laugh, the more they enjoy it, the more they'll follow you. So that's a good way to do it, is to use your face. Use your eyes, eye contact, because they're looking, especially the younger kids, they're looking right at you. And they're concentrating so hard. They're like, what's she doing now? What's teacher doing now? I'm going to copy her, I'm going to watch her. So if you're looking back at them, they're just going to be looking at you. So like I said with the hands, look towards the hands, and then they will usually 9 times out of 10 understand in the physical way what you mean. When you want them to do circle action, so when you want them to touch the screen and circle, I know that's a tricky one, and I know it's something that we often get frustrated about. And obviously you can't be frustrated because they just don't know it, they don't understand it, and it's nobody's fault. It's just trying to communicate that can be quite difficult sometimes. So I understand how frustrating it is, believe me. One of the techniques I've used that I find 9 times out of 10 again works really well is to use the wiggly worm finger. So make it fun, make it a this is my wiggly worm, let's follow the wiggly worm. So make it fun. Get them to copy you. So I would say get them to show you their wiggly worm. You can come in close. Wiggly worm, wiggly worm. Once they show you, you can then move towards the screen and circle. 9 times out of 10 they will understand what you mean, especially if you use your eyes to direct them. As I mentioned, if they're looking at you, and if you look at them, they will continue to look at you. So if you want them to look at something on the actual slide, a good thing to do is to just look at the slide as you do it, and they will naturally follow where your eye line is. So I would say use your eyes, use your face. You know, we're all going to get so many wrinkles in this job because we're always pulling silly faces and exaggerated faces, but that's part of the fun. So use things like that. Also use props. If they're doing something with their ABCs and they're struggling, have something physical that you can show them. The same with numbers. So it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. That's on a piece of cardboard. So just something that you can use that's something that's physical instead of just saying it over and over again, because that will help them to understand your meaning. If you're talking about animals, you can have props that are animals, like Barney. You can have the cow, things like that. So anything to do with that. Any flashcards that you might have. I know a lot of teachers use flashcards, and I think they're a really great idea. And also a whiteboard. So you can write on it anything that you want to write on to show them, to help them. Using a whiteboard is quite good for that. And I also like to write hello and the name of the student at the beginning and show it to them. So they you get them on side at the beginning. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And don't be frustrated. I know it's easy to get frustrated and to be like, oh, internally you're going, why won't you circle the thing? But we can't be like that. We know we can't be like that. And if they don't do it, don't worry, do it for them. You know, it might take 3 lessons down the line for them to understand what you're meaning. It's not a failure on the part of the teacher. It's just that they're not getting it. So everyone's at different levels. So don't be frustrated and don't keep trying and trying and trying. Try 3 times, and if they're not getting it, start showing them through the lesson, and they'll probably pick it up by the end of the lesson, to be honest. So yeah, don't get frustrated, just go with it. But hopefully those tips will help you, and anybody else who has any more tips, please comment at the end, because I'd love to see those tips as well. Yeah, that's all from me, but thank you very much for watching. So hopefully that will help you to put forward your instructions during class, so the kids can follow it and have the best class possible. So thanks very much, and I will speak to you very soon. See you again. Bye.